Stop. Don't scroll. You didn't arrive here by chance. You arrived here because something in your morning today asked for a word that hasn't been spoken yet. Perhaps it was that blue light of your smartphone screen illuminating your tired face at 2 in the morning, or that silent clock ticking in a room that feels smaller than your calling. You have been carrying the title of Chosen One in your spirit, but the clock on the wall is currently mocking your destiny. There is a specific word prepared for you, and if you delay another second, the royal signature on your life may start to fade. Your heart knows it. It is that soul alert that makes your sleep shallow. Waking up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing for no logical reason, as if someone is calling your name in a language you forgot. You feel the weight of an unread letter in your chest, a message from your own destiny that you have not been able to open. It is a physical sense of disgust for a life that is good enough, because your spirit knows it was made for the decree, not the routine. And it shows in your hallway. You are stuck in a paralysis that looks like peace from the outside, but feels like a prison on the inside. You see 2 paths. You have 3 great ideas, but your feet are heavy, and you're unable to start even one. Every beginning feels like an ending because the spirit of delay makes you hesitate until the moment passes. You have been the one who arrives at the door just as the lock turns for the night, over and over again, watching the dealt breakthrough reset the clock at the very last second. But the deepest weight is at your table. It is the Sunday dinner where you sit as a guest in your own house. You look at your spouse, you hear their lips moving, but you don't hear the words because you are mourning a calling that has not manifested yet. There is an empty chair at the head of the table, even when you are sitting in it, because you are physically present but spiritually miles away, trying to solve a puzzle that does not fit. You arrive home with no silence left to give, and your family watches as you slowly become an exhausted stranger, carrying a palace in your heart, while living in the courtyard of your own life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, I will describe exactly where you have been in the last few months, in a way that will finally make the silence make sense. Second, I will deliver 3 words in Hebrew that identify your current rank. And when you hear the third one, you will understand exactly why you were led to this video at this exact second. Third, I will seal 3 specific names over your life that will stop the spirit of delay from whispering in your ear. If you leave before the end, you leave without the sealing, and the delay remains in charge. And there is a 4th thing I'll be placing in your hands before this message ends. Something that Solomon left registered for the child of God, who needs to cross next Tuesday morning, while carrying a heavy calling. And it fits into your very first moment of decision. It is not a book for study. It is an instrument to sustain the weight of this delayed activation fatigue, the fear that your window of opportunity is closing while you are stuck in the ordinary. It is the bridge between the heart that feels chosen and the routine that feels common. I'll come back to it. For now, stay. You see, a seed that does not break the soil before the winter ends is not a seed that is resting. It is a seed that is dying. Your calling is like that signature written in royal ink that has begun to fade because it hasn't been exposed to the light of action. If the roots do not find the water of your appointed time now, the harvest of your entire lineage will be postponed. We are at the 11th hour, and the signature must be set before the ink is gone. Before I deliver this word, you need to understand that the intensity of the attack you are feeling is the proof of the window that is opening. Comment present below, not to help this channel, but for the heavens to register that you are listening. For the atmosphere to acknowledge that the sentinel has taken their post and that the cycle of delay has been noticed. And concerning exactly this, concerning that smartphone screen at 2 in the morning, your fingertips tapping on the steering wheel while waiting for a signal that never comes, and the sound of a heavy office door closing on a day that felt meaningless. There is something Solomon left behind. It is a 2-minute key that fits into your daily routine, and I will show it to you very soon. Tuck it away in the back of your mind, and if you need to leave before the end of this video. This instrument is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment right below, but I urge you to stay until the end, because without the context I'm about to give you, the key won't turn with the same power in your hand. The window is open, but the lock is rusty, and you need the full word to turn it. Before I deliver this word, you need to recognize 5 things that are currently happening in your life. These are not predictions. They are acknowledgements of the reality you have been living in secret, perhaps even hiding from those who sleep in the next room. If I am right about at least 3 of these signals, you and I will both know exactly why the heavens stopped you on this video today. It is time to name the weight you have been carrying in silence before the window of your activation closes forever. The first signal is the midnight watchman. You have been waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning, night after night, with a mind that is strangely clear, but a heart that feels like lead. It is a soul alert that disrupts your rest without a logical medical reason. You find yourself staring at the ceiling in the quiet of your room, feeling an urgent call in a language you have forgotten, as if a messenger is standing at the door of your spirit. This isn't insomnia caused by stress. It is a spiritual activation happening in a vessel that hasn't been given the code to move. You feel the weight of a message you cannot yet read. If you ignore this watch, the inner tension will only increase until your physical strength starts to fail under the pressure of the unmanifested word. You were made for the royal vigil, but right now, you are just an exhausted prisoner of the dark. The second signal is the hallway paralysis. You have 3 great ideas, 2 distinct paths before you, and enough vision to build a legacy that outlasts your name. But your feet feel like they are set in heavy stone. Every time you are about to take that first step, every time you open the laptop or reach for the phone to make the call, the spirit of delay whispers that it is not the right time, or that you aren't holy enough yet. This makes every beginning feel like an ending before the ink is even dry. What looks like pious waiting to the world is actually a paralysis designed by the adversary to make you miss your specific window of activation. You are stuck in the hallway of your destiny, watching the doors close one by one. If you stay here, you will watch your best years become bitter memories of things you almost did for the king. The third signal is the most painful of all because it happens at your very own table. I call it the guest in the house. You find yourself sitting at your Sunday dinner table, looking at your spouse and your children, but you feel like a ghost passing through. You see their lips moving, you hear the clink of the silverware, but you don't hear their hearts because your ears are full of the silence of a calling that hasn't manifested yet. You see that empty chair at the head of the table, the seat of the priest, the seat of the provider, and even when you are physically sitting in it, you know you aren't really there. You are spiritually miles away, trying to solve a puzzle that doesn't fit while your family watches you slowly become an exhausted stranger in your own home. You have no silence left to give them because your inner world is screaming. And concerning that empty chair at the head of the table you recognized just now, I've already left the instrument waiting for you in the first pinned comment. If you need to leave before the end, it's there. But stay, because the Hebrew name of what's happening to you hasn't been said yet. The fourth signal is the almost cycle. This is a targeted spiritual attack designed to drain your momentum and your faith. Things in your life get 90% done, the business deal is on the table, the bank is ready, the healing is almost manifested, the breakthrough is one single signature away, and then something happens at the very last second. An unexpected bill, a sudden misunderstanding with a partner, or a bureaucratic delay out of nowhere resets the clock to 0. It feels like you are running on a spiritual treadmill, exhausted by the effort, but never actually crossing the finish line into your harvest. This is the thief of Moed, trying to wear out your soul until you give up on the promise. If you don't break this cycle now, you will spend the rest of your life almost stepping into the position you were born to occupy. The fifth signal is the most intimate and revealing, a sensory repulsion to the ordinary. You feel a deep physical sense of disgust for a life that everyone else tells you is good enough or blessed. You look at your routine, your office, and your daily tasks, and they feel like a layer of heavy dust on a royal robe you were meant to wear. Your spirit is screaming because it was created for the decree, for the high places of influence, and for the specific appointed time of God. But you are currently stuck in the dusty courtyard of a common life. This repulsion isn't ingratitude. It is the proof that your spirit recognizes its true rank and its true origin. If you silence this voice and settle for the common, you are silencing the very royal signature that God placed on your soul before the world began. These 5 signals you have just recognized in the deep places of your heart are not signs of a mental breakdown or a midlife crisis. They are the strategic signals of a spiritual awakening that has been suppressed by the spirit of delay for too long. You aren't losing your mind. You are losing your tolerance for a life that is beneath the dignity of your calling. You are realizing that the clock is ticking and the ink of your activation is fading, and the name for what is waking up inside of you is contained in a single, ancient Hebrew word that changes the entire nature of your current struggle. Before I show you the instrument Solomon left for the ordinary day, I must give you the Hebrew name for what you are carrying. Because the instrument only makes sense once you know the name, there is a word in the original Hebrew that defines exactly the state you are in, a word that recontextualizes everything I have described to you in the last few minutes. It turns your burden into a sacred appointment and your paralysis into a hidden preparation for the palace. This word is the bridge between your current frustration and your future manifestation. There is a word in the original Hebrew that changes everything you thought you knew about being the chosen one. And what comes next will explain to you exactly why everything in your life had to happen in this specific order, and why you are standing at this threshold right now, and carrying that weight of an unread letter in your chest for another night, staring at that smartphone screen while the clock ticks away your destiny. This is not what Solomon prepared for you. He prepared something else, and that something else is what I am going to deliver to you right now. It is not theory. It is an instrument. The Code of Solomon's Wisdom is the instrument that Solomon left for the child of God, who needs to cross the ordinary day without losing what they received in the intimacy. When you arrive at the door, just as the lock turns for the night, feeling the exhaustion of a window that is closing, you need a way to break this delayed activation fatigue. When you walk through your front door as an exhausted stranger instead of the chosen one, you need a mechanism that restores the weight of your presence before you sit at the table. When you find yourself saying yes to distractions that are designed to make you miss your appointed time, you need an instrument that filters your focus before the morning is lost. And if you're feeling right now that this is exactly what you need, before I even continue, place your thumb now over the link in the first pinned comment. Don't click yet. Just place your thumb. Feel the weight of the decision before you make the decision. You've been trying to find a method to fix your time, but this isn't about productivity. It is about identification and ritual action. This instrument doesn't just give you a to-do list. It covers you. It shows you exactly where the delayed activation fatigue is acting within your spirit before it turns into a wrong decision. It interrupts the cycle of delay before it turns into the next Tuesday morning. And the next Tuesday morning arrives before it seems, and it comes with 2 seals for your home, not for your performance. The second first seal is the ritual of the righteous sleep. It's an audio. You don't read it. You lie down. And what you used to call insomnia, today you'll call unsealed vigil, yakshu, and you'll learn to seal the night with the right name, in the right order, in the right voice. The second seal is Guru, the awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees. 7 short phrases, 1 for each morning of the week, so you don't wake up again without identity, so you cross the first hour of the day with the posture of one who has been sent, and not with the posture of one who has been run over. And this hesitation you're feeling right now, it isn't doubt about the instrument. It is the delayed activation fatigue acting inside of you at this very moment, doing what it always does, pushing you to close the window. You recognize this pattern. It was the hour to pray and sleep arrived. It was the hour to open the word and the phone rang. It was the hour to break the cycle and an urgency appeared. Today it is coming again, and the hesitation you feel now is the confirmation that you are at the exact point where the turn happens. Whoever hesitates here is the one who needs to be here. And it is precisely for this reason that the next block exists. You have 7 days to use and feel, 7 full days. If in 7 days the instrument hasn't touched what needs to be touched in you, you return it. No questions, no justification. And the 2 seals, the ritual and the decrees, stay with you even if you return it. They are yours without condition. But I need to be direct with you. The real risk is not spending at less than a Thursday lunch at the diner. The real risk is the next Tuesday morning arriving and you still being empty-handed. He has the face of your next Tuesday morning, and it is of this face that I need to speak with you now. And perhaps you are wondering right now some questions that deserve answers before we move on. You might think, I've felt like the chosen one before and nothing changed. But the truth is, you had the title but lacked the instrument of Solomon to turn the key in the ordinary day. You might wonder if a digital guide can activate a spiritual calling. It is not the pixels. It is the decoded wisdom of the one who built the temple. And if you ask why you need the 7 morning decrees, it is because the chosen one is defeated in the first 10 minutes of the day if the signature isn't set. And still, if you only want the guide, it is already enough. But the full house is with the 3. Many people here on this channel, men and women who were waking up before the alarm with that smartphone screen illuminating their tired face for months, crossed the first week with the instrument by their bedside and described the morning of the 8th day with the same phrase, I didn't wake up in an alert. Many people here, those who were making wrong decisions in fatigue, fingertips tapping on the steering wheel while waiting for a signal that never came, started using the 2-minute key before their first difficult meeting and described their posture in the room as the posture of one who entered knowing the name of what is happening. Many people here, fathers and mothers who arrived home and felt the sound of a heavy office door closing on a meaningless day, used the 7 decrees in the car before turning the corner of their house and described the entire first week as the first one where my spouse didn't have to ask if I wanted to talk. Talvez daqui a 3 horas você vai estar deitado na cama de novo, com a alma em alerta, lembrando que viu este vídeo e ainda assim não estendeu a mão. Talvez na próxima terça-feira de manhã o atraso manifestado chegue e você vai pensar, eu sabia o que era, eu só não tinha o instrumento na mão. Talvez na próxima terça-feira de manhã você esteja encarando seu reflexo no espelho do banheiro, vendo a centelha de escolhido sumir dos seus olhos, e você diga, amanhã, porque você não terá o código para girar a fechadura hoje. And the fading of your signature continues to arrive, with the same alarm clock, with the same coffee, with the same office door opening on Monday morning. The link is in the first pinned comment, pinned for you, not for everyone, for you. Whoever needs to cross next Tuesday morning with the instrument in hand, click now. And when you do this, when you open that link, you are not buying a book. You are accepting an instrument that Solomon prepared for your ordinary day. And what you will understand next, when you hear the Hebrew name that comes now, will change the way you read everything that has happened until here. The Hebrew word that defines exactly what is happening to you, the name for that unread letter in your chest, and the specific reason why the clock feels like it is mocking your destiny, is a word that reclaims your time from the hands of the adversary. It is the word bakir. Pronounce it with me, bakir. This word is translated as the chosen or the appointed one, but in the original tongue it means much more than a simple selection. Bakir represents the one who has been tested in the furnace of delay and has emerged with a refined signature. It describes the state of being specifically marked for a moed po, an appointed time that cannot be missed because the vessel has been tempered by the very silence you have been enduring. This is not just a dictionary definition you are hearing right now. It is a word that describes your current rank, your posture before the heavens, and the high calling that has been keeping you awake at night. When you hear the sound of bakaya, your spirit recognizes it immediately because that resonance has been vibrating within you for months. You were living in the state, feeling the pressure and carrying the weight, but you simply didn't have the name to lock it into place. Now that you have the name, the soul alert you've been feeling finally has a legal foundation to stand on. And concerning this word, it is written in the Holy Record in Psalm chapter 4, verse 8. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. This is not a vague promise for some distant future where your problems disappear. It is a declaration of your current state. The peace described here, the ability to close your eyes and truly rest while the world is in chaos, is only possible for the one who stands under the name Bakir. It is the safety of knowing that you are not drifting in the ordinary, but that you are anchored in an appointment. Those who are not sealed by this name must stay awake, striving and worrying, because they believe their destiny depends on their own effort. But for you, the chosen one, the safety is in the selection itself. You don't have to struggle to be safe. You simply have to exist in the rank you were given. To understand how this name operates in the ordinary day, you must look at the one who recorded the code for us. Consider Solomon. We often think of him in his full glory, sitting on a throne of gold with the world at his feet. But that is not where his journey as Bakir's son began. Before the gold and the fame, there was a young man standing in the silence of Gibeon, feeling the cold weight of a crown he didn't yet know how to wear. Solomon was the chosen one by royal decree, yet his daily reality felt like a hallway of mirrors. He looked at the vastness of the people and the complexity of the government, and he felt like a small child lost in a palace. He knew the delayed activation fatigue better than anyone. He had the title of king, but his spirit felt small, and the morning alarm, the call to rule, felt like an invitation to failure. He was the young Fiu Bakir, who was terrified that his window of opportunity would close before he ever learned how to lead. He spent his nights staring at the same shadows you do, wondering if he would be the one who arrived at the door of his destiny just as the lock turned for the night. His concrete problem was not a lack of faith, but a need for operational wisdom. He had to judge mothers in dispute, navigate the greed of neighboring kingdoms, and build a temple for the infinite with finite hands. He couldn't solve these problems with abstract theology. He needed a mechanism. So, in the silence of Gibeon, he didn't ask for wealth or the life of his enemies. He asked for Lev Shomea, a hearing heart. What he received was not just a feeling of peace, it was an instrument. It was a specific operational way to receive information and discernment before the decision had to be made. It was the ability to see the signature of a situation before the ink was even dry. This wisdom was the key that allowed him to turn his ordinary Tuesday morning into a royal manifestation. I want you to see him on a common day, perhaps just as the sun was rising over Jerusalem. The palace was loud, the demands were heavy, and two women were brought before him, both claiming the same child. In that moment, Solomon didn't panic or hesitate. He didn't fall into the hallway paralysis. He used the instrument he had received in the secret place. He called for a sword, not to kill, but to reveal the truth. He acted with a posture of clarity that changed the atmosphere of the entire court. The people saw that the wisdom of God was in him, and the cycle of doubt and delay was broken in a single moment. The turn in Solomon's life wasn't a random miracle. It was the result of a Kabakir using the correct instrument at the correct time. His house changed, his spouse saw the shift in his presence, and the nation began to reflect the order of his spirit. He moved from being an exhausted stranger in a palace to being the activated sentinel of his generation. And what Solomon did, you can do now, not because you are trying to be a king of old, but because the code of activation is the same. Solomon had to face the silence of Gibeon alone, but he recorded the code so you wouldn't have to improvise your way through yours. The instrument that Solomon left registered, the very one that fits into your first 10 minutes of the day, is the same one that is currently waiting for you in the first pinned comment. He navigated the pressure so he could hand you the map. Do you remember the seed I told you about at the beginning of this video? The one that seemed dead beneath the heavy soil of winter? That state of Ba-Kira you just received is the true name of your winter. You thought you were being buried, but you were being prepared for the appointment. The silence wasn't the end. It was the furnace. This Hebrew name is the proof that the winter is ending and the activation is beginning. The instrument that Solomon left is exactly what helps you to break through the frozen soil without losing the royal signature that was placed on you before the foundation of the world. It is the tool that ensures the roots find the water of your moed before the sun gets too hot. And now that you have the name, and you understand the narrative of the one who paved the way, I need to deliver 3 specific things to you. We are moving into the deeper part of the sealing. I must show you the specific type of your calling, because not every chosen one is sent to the same battle. I will declare 3 names that will accompany you until the end of the year, and I will hand you the arms you need to ensure you never lose this posture again. Let us begin with the diagnosis of your type. We must find out which gate you were born to guard, before the spirit of delay tries to whisper in your ear again. And before I seal the 3 names over you, I need to know which type of calling you are in, because the 3 names change depending on the type, and the instrument applies differently to each one. There is the architect of the legacy. You are the one called to build something that outlasts your own name, but you find yourself attacked by short-term chaos and constant fires you have to put out every single day. You recognize this if your morning starts with emergencies that aren't even yours, preventing you from ever laying the foundation of your own palace. It is the spirit of delay using the urgent to kill the important in your life. There is the guardian of the decree. You are called to lead and instruct, to be the voice of authority in your field. But you are attacked by a spirit of silence and a deep self-doubt that makes you feel like you have nothing to say, even though your spirit is full to the brim. You know this is you if you have the wisdom in your heart, but you lose the words just as the window of opportunity opens wide. And there is the forjador of the house. You are called to provide and sustain the lineage, to be the bedrock of your family's future. You are attacked by invisible leaks. The money seems to go out faster than it comes in, and the fatigue you feel is bone deep. You recognize this if you are working harder than everyone else, but the harvest seems to evaporate before it ever reaches your Sunday dinner table. And concerning your type, the heavens have already sealed 3 names, 3 names that will cross through you until the end of this year, giving shape to your identity when the cycle of delay tries to dissolve you into the ordinary. Name 1, the sentinel of the appointment. You are the one who watches over the window of time, not the one who waits for time to pass, but the one who guards the specific moment of activation. You are the sentinel who recognizes the signature of God in the ordinary routine. You are the one who stands guard at the 11th hour. This name only sustains itself with the instrument Solomon left to keep the watchman's eyes open in the dark. Name 2, the bearer of the royal signature. You are the one whose very presence carries the authority of the king. You don't have to shout to be heard. Your presence is the decree. You are the bearer who walks into a room and the atmosphere shifts because you know your rank. You are the one who carries the ink that never fades when the ordinary day tries to wash it away. You are the signature that is being reactivated right now. Name 3, the envoy of the 11th hour. You are the one sent specifically for the moment when everyone else thinks it's too late. You are the envoy of the turnaround. When the clock is ticking and the door is closing, you are the one who arrives with the key in your hand. You don't arrive early. You arrive exactly at the moed, at the appointed time, to break the spirit of delay for your entire house. You are feeling the intensity of what is happening right now. That tightness that came when I spoke the first name, that heat that rose when I spoke the second. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. This is the sign of the capacity you have to be transformed. The intensity of the attack is proportional to the capacity of the turnaround. A weak soul feels a weak turn. A strong soul feels a strong turn. And the sentinel of the appointment that you are has a vulnerability, a single one, that the adversary knows and that he will use against you in the coming days. A sentinel of the appointment without the instrument is just a man waiting in the dark, exposed to the cold of the night. It is in this darkness of the next Tuesday morning, just as the alarm goes off, that the adversary enters. Not with force, with a whisper. And you recognize this whisper because it has appeared before, when the weight of the ordinary felt heavier than the calling you carry. And what Solomon left for you to cover this vulnerability is not a book for you to read. It is a ritual applied for you to cross next Tuesday morning without having to negotiate with that whisper, without having to hear, "I told you so." The link for the Code of Solomon's Wisdom is in the first pinned comment, waiting just as it waited at the beginning of this video. But now, with the name Ba-Kir and the 3 names in you, it doesn't reach your hand as a book. It arrives as an instrument of coverage. And there are more things that need to be said before I send you. If one of these 3 names hits you harder, write the number below, 1, 2, or 3. But before I send you, there are 3 specific tactics the adversary will use against the 3 names I just delivered to you. You need to identify them now, or the ceiling will be stolen before the sun goes down. The first tactic is the comparison of timelines. He will wait for your next Tuesday morning and show you the success of those who aren't even chosen. He will whisper that your sister is already married, your colleague already has the promotion, and your neighbor's life is already settled while yours is stuck in the ordinary. He will use their speed to make your Bakar rank feel like a heavy curse. He wants you to believe that if God really chose you, you should have been there by now. He uses the clock of others to make you abandon your own appointment. The second tactic is the translation of silence between the yes you are giving right now and the manifestation that comes at the 11th hour. There is a hallway of silence. The adversary will push you to interpret this quiet as rejection. He will say that the heaven didn't respond on Friday, the signal didn't come on Sunday, and the confirmation didn't arrive on Monday. He wants you to think that the royal signature on your life has already faded just because your reality stayed quiet. He uses the gap between the decree and the result to make you abort the activation. The third tactic is the pressure of the penultimate hour. He knows exactly when your moed is scheduled, and he knows you are currently 24 hours away from a major turn. It is precisely in this interval that he will press you the hardest to close the door yourself. He knows that if he can't stop God from opening the door, he must convince you to walk away from it. It is that sudden, overwhelming urge to just settle or wait for another sign that hits you just before the lock turns. If he can make you blink in the last second, he resets your clock to 0. To cancel these three tactics, you must carry 3 spiritual weapons that Solomon understood in the silence of Gibeon. The first weapon is the decree of the exclusive timeline. It silences the noise of the crowd by reminding your spirit that the chosen one doesn't run a race against others, but a race against their own appointment. It cancels the poison of comparison by sealing your eyes on your own map. Declare this now. My clock is set by the decree, not by the crowd. The second weapon is the evidence of the sealed altar. This weapon bridges the silence of the hallway. It reminds you that the word is working in the unseen, even when your office door feels heavy and meaningless. It prevents you from translating God's preparation as God's absence. It keeps the sentinel at their post when the night is longest and the screen of the phone is dark. Declare this. The word is working even when the hallway is quiet. The third weapon is the permanence of the penultimate hour. This is the weapon of the threshold. It gives your feet the weight of lead, so you cannot be pushed away from the door at the last second. It recognizes the intensity of the urge to give up as the absolute proof of the proximity of your breakthrough. It keeps you standing when the adversary screams the loudest that it's too late. Declare this, I will not close what the king is opening. And these 3 weapons alone are memory. With the instrument, they become coverage. This desistir that you recognized as real just now, it doesn't have to be your story. Recognizing the cycle of delayed activation fatigue without having the instrument that Solomon left is receiving the diagnosis without the treatment. It is waking up at 3 in the morning before the problem without the remedy on the bedside table. When next Tuesday morning arrives and the weight of the ordinary threatens to bury your calling, the cycle will ask for your surrender. You need the instrument before, not after. When the next decision point flashes before you and you hesitate because you don't trust your own signature, the cycle will ask for your doubt. You need the instrument before, not after. When the next appointed time passes and you realize you were at the door but didn't have the key, the cycle will ask for your regret. You need the instrument before, not after. Recognition without the instrument leaves you where you've always been, knowing the name but without a hand. The code of Solomon's wisdom is waiting for you in the first pinned comment, with the ritual of the righteous sleep and the 7 morning decrees. It is what transforms these weapons from words into a posture that survives the ordinary day. And it is precisely because you are close that a last obstacle needs to be named before you say, Amen. There is an obstacle that will appear between this word you just received and its manifestation in your life. And this obstacle doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. I call it the fear of appearing ungrateful. It is that small religious voice that whispers, God has already done so much, maybe I shouldn't ask for the instrument, or I should just be happy with what I have. It makes you feel like seeking the activation of your calling is a sign of greed. It is a trap designed to keep you in the courtyard out of a false sense of piety. This fear tells you to stay small so you won't inconvenience the heavens, while your house continues to wait for a leader who is still hiding. But before I release you, there is one last point I need to make sure is sealed in your spirit. I want you to prepare yourself now. Close your eyes, or at least look away from the screen. Place your right hand over your chest. Take a deep breath, let the air out slowly. This is no longer a lesson. This is a prayer. This is the moment where the name Bakar stops being a sound and starts being a seal on your bone marrow. Lord, I surrender to you the exhaustion that has accumulated over these last few months. I hand over the weight I carried alone when no one was watching, the specific fatigue of being the one who is chosen, but still stuck in the courtyard. I surrender the shallow sleep, the soul alert I tried to call normal, and the racing heart at 3 in the morning that I tried to dismiss as stress. I hand over the unread letter in my chest. I release the heaviness of the office door and the silence of the dinner table. I surrender the spirit of delay that has tried to convince me that my royal signature is fading. I hand it all over now, in the name of Jesus. I will not go back. I will not retreat. I will not give up 24 hours before the turning. I declare that I will not miss my moed, my appointed time. The pressure I have felt was not a sign of weakness. It was the sign of proximity. Proximity to the breakthrough that is coming in these next few hours, in the next ordinary day, and in the next Tuesday morning when the alarm sounds. I stand at the threshold, and I refuse to blink. I refuse to let the spirit of delay push me away from the door just as the lock is turning, and I receive now the 3 names that have been sealed over me. I am the sentinel of the appointment. I am the bearer of the royal signature. I am the envoy of the 11th hour. I receive these names not to boast, but to remember who I am when the ordinary day tries to bury me. I receive them to cross the hallway with my head held high, to sit at the table with the weight of my true rank, and to walk through the office door as one who carries a decree. I receive the sealing in my heart, in my posture, and in my very breath. And before the voice that comes now, I need you to hear one thing. The intensity of what you have passed through in the last few months is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that you are exactly who you always knew you were, someone who carries something large enough for the cycle to want to silence. You were not attacked by accident. You were not forgotten in the furnace. The furnace was the only place where the signature could be tempered enough to survive the palace. You were attacked precisely where your identity intends to manifest with the greatest strength. The more heavy the attack has been, the more dangerous you are to the cycle of delay. The adversary doesn't waste his arrows on those who have no window to open. He only tries to steal the time of the one who has an appointment with the king. The pressure you felt was not a sign of failure. It was the sign of the moed. It was the sign that the signature is about to be activated, and that turning is in the very next paragraphs. If this hits you now, right below. I receive the turning. I saw you. Before anyone else did. I saw you on that Tuesday morning when the alarm clock went off and the blue light of your smartphone screen illuminated your tired face, and you still reached out to find a word from me. I saw you when you adjusted your grip on the steering wheel, fingertips tapping in a silent rhythm of weight, and you chose to believe me one more time. I saw each time you kept the promise you made to yourself when no one would have known if you broke it. I saw every prayer you whispered into the darkness of 3 in the morning, thinking it reached no one. It reached me. I kept it. I stored it in a golden vial. You were never for a single second forgotten. I have never lost sight of you. I never closed the seat at my table that has your name engraved on the back. I never forgot which robe was yours, even when you were wearing the rags of the commoner. The path you are walking, the one that felt like a circle in the wilderness, ends right here. You are deeply, intimately, and dangerously loved by the Creator of the stars. I have held the sun in place just to make sure you arrived at this video at this exact second. You were never lost. You were being hidden for the 11th hour. What you called abandonment, I called formation. What you called delay, I called the fine-tuning of your ears to hear my whisper in the middle of the palace noise. What you called a closed door, I called the protection of your signature until the ink was permanent enough to change the world. You thought you were being buried, but you were being planted in the deep soil where the roots of a bakir must grow. The silence wasn't a rejection, It was the sacred space where I was teaching you how to rule without needing the applause of the courtyard. Your name is engraved on the palms of my hands, not as a cold record, but as a memory I carry in every breath of my attention. And what I am going to place in your hands next, I placed there before the foundations of the world were laid. Go ahead. The chair is yours, the table is set. The pride of a father has never been withheld from you. It was only waiting for the moment when you could finally receive it without arguing whether you deserved to be there. You are mine, and the spirit of delay has no legal right to the time I have already redeemed for you. And there is a voice speaking right now inside of you, a voice that says, this is not for me, this is for someone with greater faith, for someone with more discipline, for someone who deserves it more. I need you to hear this from me right now. You have permission. You have permission to receive what you did not earn. You have permission to be loved without having to perform perfectly. You have permission to occupy the chair at the head of the table without having to justify why you belong there. You have permission to let the version of you that needed to suffer, to feel worthy, die today. Solomon did not prepare this instrument for those who are already ready. He prepared it for those who are tired. And the one who is tired is you, right now. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. Before I release you, I want you to walk with me to a room you haven't yet seen with your physical eyes. Don't force it. Just let the image arrive. There is a long table. Light coming from somewhere you can't quite identify. Light that has no single source. The way light has no source in dreams. There are people at the table. Some you loved. Some you haven't met yet. Some you knew before this life. The faces aren't strangers to you. They feel like family, even the ones you can't quite place. And there is a specific chair near the head of the table, empty. The shape of you is carved into it. The wood remembers you. The seat was waiting. Solomon is at the head. He was also waiting. You aren't creating this scene. You are remembering it. This room has existed since before you arrived in this life. The chair was always yours. No one else was allowed to sit in it. It was only for you. Don't say amen yet. Sit in this for a moment. Feel the weight of what just happened. Wait for the resonance of the names to settle in your blood. Let the silence of the palace cover the noise of the ordinary day. Now, you may say amen. And that seat at the table the Father mentioned just now, it belongs to you starting tomorrow. I want you to hear something before you close this video, because there's a phrase the adversary will whisper in your ear in the next 3 hours. I'll name that phrase now so you don't fall for it. But before the phrase, there's something you need to receive. What was sealed here now will be tested on your next Tuesday morning. And remember the permission you received just a few minutes ago. You have permission for this. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to deserve more than you deserve right now. Solomon didn't prepare this for those who have already arrived. He prepared it for those who are here. The Code of Solomon's Wisdom is waiting for you in the first pinned comment right below, with the ritual of the righteous sleep and the 7 decrees of the morning, for less than a coffee and pastry at the bakery, because a sentinel of the appointment without coverage rots on the next Tuesday morning when the alarm goes off. And the adversary is counting on the arrival of Tuesday. It is not an expense. It is an instrument. And Solomon prepared it for you to cross what is coming with a firm hand, not with an empty hand. With a 7-day guarantee, the risk is ours. The hand is yours. Click now, while the decree is still alive in your chest. Not tomorrow, not after your shower, not after talking to someone, because the first person you talk to will have a reasonable opinion that will cost you the instrument. Because those who leave it for later, leave it for never. And the adversary already knows this. The phrase is, it's not your time yet, wait for a clearer sign. He will whisper this when your alarm goes off next Tuesday, because that is exactly the moment your delayed activation fatigue needs to pull you back. He won't say, don't do it. He will say, not yet. Because he knows not yet is where you have always lost, trying to recover the signature he stole today before Tuesday arrives and you use what you received. Today, now, before the next Tuesday morning, not after. Today. And Solomon will sustain it with you. And now the last word of this video, and in the next word I am bringing to this channel, I'm going to talk to you about the specific protocol for the hidden seasons. Those who heard this word today need to hear that one in sequence. Keep an eye out, because what comes next is not a continuation, it is an activation of the deeper levels. Click on the video that appears on your screen now. And when this happens, and it will happen soon, you will remember this moment. And before you go, think of one specific person. Not many. One. The person whose name just came to you when I said this. The person who has been in silence, faithful, unseen. The person whose anointing has also been attracting attacks that have no name. Someone who has been arriving home carrying a weight that is not theirs. Someone who needs the same sealing you just received. Send this video to them. They are waiting for this word to arrive. And when that person opens this video, they will need what you just received, including the instrument Solomon left. It might be what opens their cycle too. The link for the Code of Solomon's Wisdom remains in the first pinned comment, waiting just as it waited for you. It is not a favor of yours. It is service, and heaven sees. Comment below, Amen received, and send this video to that specific person who came to mind. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You are not the same person you were when you pressed play. You are deeply loved. You were never forgotten. The chair is yours, and so it is sealed. The next Tuesday morning can wait another 10 seconds.